Welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast. Did you know that plants are truly amazing? Not only can you grow them and eat them, you can also wear them, drink them, nourish your skin with them, and so much more. Let Ellen and Michael inspire you to love plants as much as they do, as they chat with the movers and shakers in this wonderful plant-based world. So, let's dig in.
Hey guys, the sponsor for Series 16 of the Plant-Based Podcast is Grow This Not That, which is the Substack by myself, Michael Perry, also known as Mr. Plant Geek. This is the place where you can get all the hot happenings in the hort world directly to your inbox. Every Friday there's a hort report which brings together the influencer, industry and home gardener worlds, and every Wednesday I'll recommend 5 plants that you can grow, and subscribers get an extra free as well. All you need to do to find out more about my wonderful Substack called Grow This Not That is go to mrplantgeek.substack.com. Hope to see you there.
So what is happening in the world of houseplants right now, and where is it going? With such a huge resurgence in recent years, houseplants have become a hot topic. And today's guest is houseplant expert, author, designer, and most importantly, a plant rescuer. Here to tell us what's hot, what's not, and what the future holds for houseplants. It is, of course, Sarah Gerard-Jones, known as the Plant Rescuer. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Sarah GJ.
Hi there, how are you?
You're very
you okay?
good. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Can we call you SGJ for sure?
Everybody calls me, all my friends call me SGJ, so yes, you're my friends and you can call me SGJ. It's hard to say.
Oh, it's always so nice to see you. You're just like, I don't know, you're just like some little warm ball of something. I don't know.
I'm not sure I've been described as a ball, but
I can't talk to women. Bye. Like a ball of fluff is where I was going.
Oh yeah, maybe that's my jumper. Maybe that's my jumper. Yeah, I'll take it.
Your jumper is lovely.
Lovely, and we've known you a few years now as well, haven't we?
Yeah, I always remember fondly our trip to Cheltenham together.
Oh, yeah. It's just been this year, hasn't it? The Cheltenham Book Festival. I think. Yeah,
because I didn't have a book out. I wasn't there, and I guess you weren't either.
No. I don't expect to be at everything every year, no.
I do.
Yeah, that was really cool. Definitely.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And we
did a talk together, didn't we? Sorry.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? Yes. It's so funny. You forget all these things. Like we were just saying before we came on the podcast, we're all struggling with memory. I think we're all of a certain age, aren't we?
Oh my gosh, don't. I honestly feel like I've accelerated to being 80.
Oh my God.
And my short-term memory is appalling. Literally, I probably can't remember what I said at the beginning of the podcast already.
Oh, I think short-term is all right for me. It's longer term. Like, I can't really remember detail of what I did last year or something. But I can probably remember, the last 40 minutes.
And do you have that thing where I have this thing now where I can't remember if something was a dream or reality?
Oh,
and did that actually...
Sarah, that is weird. Yeah.
That is weird.
Is that weird?
I've got a problem
like
there.
In my childhood, I have these memories of things, but I don't know if they actually happened or whether I...
I had one once when I was at school. And I went to school and the traffic light button was replaced with mashed potato. And I never know to this day if that was true or not. But that's my only one, Sarah.
I'm assuming it wasn't true, but you never know.
I don't know, but it could have been a prank, so yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So welcome to the Memory Podcast.
Thank you.
Take
What's my name? Sorry?
Loads of tips on memory.
I'm literally like, I already can't remember if I'd done the intro or not. So shall we just move on?
This is probably going to be like 4 hours long because nobody remembers what's happened.
I've got to get the 1711 train. I hope not.
Okay, let's go on with this. Come on.
Right, come on, Ellen. Get us
Sarah, the irony
it's not like we're the botanical reprobates or anything, is it?
Oh no, we're not the botanical reprobates who are awesome. The irony of the next question for you, Sarah, is almost too much to handle because we want you to take us back to the beginning, but you might not be able to remember it. I have no idea. But, if you can remember it, how did your passion start?
I do remember it. I don't think it was a dream. I think it was reality, but I might have embellished it. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think it was probably about 10 years ago now. And I do remember specifically going to the DIY shop to get some paint. And I saw some members of staff at the DIY shop throwing away the orchids that had stopped flowering. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of struck by how appalling that was, that these plants were being thrown away, because I knew full well that they would bloom again. So I did ask if I could take those plants rather than being thrown away. And back in the day, 10 years ago, they were just like, yeah, that's fine. They don't do that anymore, by the way. They reduce them or don't reduce them. But I ended up coming home forgetting to collect the paint, which is not unusual knowing my memory, but brought home literally a boot full of orchids that had finished flowering. And I cared for those, and most of them bloomed again, which I just found really rewarding. And it just got me thinking about the sort of environment we now live in, which is just of this throwaway culture, which is something's not flowering, throw it in the bin. And I guess this is how the whole plant rescuing thing started, that I just wanted to save as many plants as I could before they got thrown away. I just think it really speaks of something to do with our culture being wrong, that we've just been nature when it's still alive, because it just doesn't look perfect anymore and we don't want it. Yeah. So I guess I sort of jokingly call myself a plant activist. I'm fighting for the plants. I'm fighting for the plants. I'm here for the plants.
But was there anything else? Activist.
Yeah, but was there anything else that you were rescuing? Is it only plants, or were you doing this with other things like, say, food in supermarkets, or kind of like, why specifically plants? And did you have some experience in houseplants before to kind of have that interest peaked?
I mean, I guess I do remember as a young child, I was quite strange. I had a real passion for I used to put up posters against animal testing. So I was always completely obsessed with animals. And I used to go around my local village putting up posters when we used to have phone booths. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
So I think I've just always had that kind of mentality of wanting to nurture and rescue things and save things. So I guess that kind of goes hand in hand, I suppose. But yes, I did have experience of plants. I grew up luckily with parents who taught me a lot about nature. We went for walks as often as we could. My dad and my granddad, in fact, was a forester. So my dad taught me a lot about trees. I love trees. I'm obsessed. Ellen, Mary and I talk about hugging trees, and I do that. That's a real special thing. But yes, and my granddad had a beautiful garden in Scotland, and I spent a lot of time in his garden. But I guess when I was a student, I didn't have a garden, and I still wanted that. I really needed that connection with nature. So I've always had houseplants, but I guess it wasn't until I had this burning desire to save as many as possible that I filled my house literally to the brim with them, as many as I could find before they got thrown away. It was like this desperate urge to find them all before they got binned. And that's when things got a bit out of hand. And I think at peak plant, I probably had 300, 400, 500 plants. I don't know.
Yeah. You don't need to count them, because there's always room for more. So if you count them,
no one counts over 10.
You don't need.
I mean, it was a wild estimate. I think it was probably around then. I have since had to reduce the amount because my family got a bit fed up with me, and it's fair enough. So,
did you have to throw some out?
Never. What are you talking about? Wash your mouth out, Michael. Good Lord.
You're literally talking to a plant rescuer who's an activist for plants, and then you're out. What?
People don't have to, if you don't like a plant, you don't have to throw it in the bin. Or if it's not doing well, you don't have to throw it in the bin. You can give it to a friend. You can rehome it. So it doesn't necessarily have to end up, in the compost heap. So no, I do not throw them out. I do actually.
I never expected you to.
That's not actually entirely true. I have, of course, thrown some plants out that I just don't think are worth saving because they're too far gone. So yeah, that has happened. But in general, they get donated to charities, friends, whoever. Yeah.
That's really nice. Is this where the plant rescue box scheme came from? How did
Yes.
that? And tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so back in 2022, I've got a good friend who owns Happy Houseplants, which is an online indoor plant retailer. And we did the Chelsea Flower Show together when we did the Houseplant Studio. And I remember going over to his warehouse and, he would show me plants that were just going to be thrown away because they had a brown leaf or a yellow leaf. I mean, to me, they looked absolutely healthy. It's just that they had one brown leaf. And he would tell me that if he sent that out, he would get terrible reviews.
Yeah.
He would not accept that a plant arrived with even a brown tip. So he was actually devastated that there was all this plant waste. And I don't know, I just came up with this at the time I thought was a crazy idea, but he agreed to do it, which was, why don't you put those plants that you were going to bin into a plant rescue box and you sell that for a fraction of what it would cost full price. And then you can give people the opportunity that want to rescue a plant, they can do that. So it was kind of a win-win. So he was recouping some of his losses, financial losses, and those plants were going to homes. So yeah, it just kind of made sense to me, and it's been a great success for many businesses now. I often put it on my Instagram when there's rescue boxes available to buy, and of course that is kind of like a marketing ploy as well for that business. A small independent business maybe doesn't have the reach that I do, and I can give them that reach, and in turn they are selling the plants that are no longer perfect. So it's a lovely circle, I think.
Yeah,
That's
that's brilliant.
Really awesome. Like, before we go on to a million other questions that we have for you, you've had a really exciting few years with designing for Chelsea Flower Show and also taking over Green Rooms Marketplace. So can you just tell us a bit more about both of those things before we kind of talk a little bit more about houseplants and trends and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so Chelsea was not planned, actually. It was, again, my friend Mark, who owns Happy Houseplants. I love him. He just does things. He's one of those people that just wants to do things, on the spur of the moment. And he said, yeah, he literally called me. He said, I don't know anybody who's as crazy as me, but I think you are. Do you want to do Chelsea? Should we do a houseplant studio? He said, the deadline has already passed for us to submit our design, but I've got an extension. So if we do it this weekend, we could submit our plan. And so we did, and we got in, and the rest is history. And now we have a gold medal, which is just incredible. So yeah, that was a bit of a crazy year and a whirlwind. But we had this idea of doing a plant clinic, which fits in with, now that he's doing the rescue boxes and my ethos, it just seemed like the perfect thing was to present this idea of how you best care for houseplants. Because actually, what I learned through being on Instagram is people's base level is quite low sometimes of, literally, can I keep a houseplant in the dark kind of basic.
Yeah.
So our idea behind the plant clinic was just to show people the best substrate to use. We also had Ben, Worcester Terrariums. He joined us in doing the plant clinic too. I think that was a stroke of genius because I'm sure he won it for us. His terrariums are so beautiful. So we had this idea of it. It was a little bit like a plant spa, I suppose. We had the terrariums, which illustrated the humidity. We had the substrates. We had big monsteras propagating in jars. And it was a great week. We just had lots of people asking us questions, and we could impart our knowledge to them, which is what we wanted. And to get the gold medal on top was just amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And from there, you've moved on to Green Rooms Marketplace as well.
Yeah, so that actually was born out of Chelsea. We had this great group of people, and we wanted to be able to support this houseplant community in a better way. We're not really represented very well at any of the festivals. I'm talking about back in 2022 now. There was the Houseplant Studios at Chelsea, but there was very little else. And as a group, we wanted to, put houseplants on a more of a level pegging with outdoor gardening, because it's all just plants at the end of the day. Where we garden doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant. So we, together with Ian Morrison, who owns Liquid Gold Leaf, he had a part in the Chelsea exhibit too. I can't say we created green rooms because it was already created, but the people who owned green rooms wanted to sell it. They no longer had time to run it. So Ian and myself thought, well, this is an opportunity to really grow something and really put our stamp on these festivals. And Green Rooms, as you well know, was in Malvern, RHS Malvern, this May. And that was the first ever Festival of Houseplants, of which we hope there'll be many more in many more places popping up soon. But it was just such a great atmosphere. It was the first time that all of this community had come together, and we were really celebrated there. We had BBC Gardeners World, spent most of the day covering lots of stories, and it was just exactly what we wanted, was to be a community supporting each other and just showing, the festivals and the people there that indoor gardening is really no different to outdoor gardening. Yeah. And that, it's for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. You did a great job. It was awesome. It was something that's not been seen before, and people walked in and were like, what? What's this? Wow, this is amazing. So yeah,
it was a great experience. It was just fantastic. I just loved the energy. There was so much happiness. Everyone just had big smiles on their face, and we want to replicate that at all the shows, and I'm sure we'll get there because it needs to happen, right? I just think it's ridiculous that up until this point, there's not been a big celebration of indoor gardening.
Yeah. Well, I guess to be fair, houseplants weren't really in vogue, so there probably wasn't a need until the last maybe 5-6 years, I'd say. But what I love about the community, like with indoor plants, is I don't think there's that community for outdoor plants. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
No, I think it's quite special and very niche and very supportive, like with outdoor plants. Like, what do you think, Ellen? Like, outdoor plants are so split, isn't it? There's obviously trees, shrubs, there's garden designers, there's kind of like, I don't know, I don't see such a...
I think like every industry has different parts to it and sort of interests within it. So I guess like people end up in their group, if you like, of what element of that industry they particularly like. I mean, I do think there is that support in horticulture in general, depending on what part you're in. But when it comes to the houseplants, it just has a different vibe, It has a community, forward-thinking, kind of a new vibe, So I don't think it's that horticulture doesn't have that like community thing, but it's just houseplants has a different vibe, which is needed. In that could actually help the greater horticultural world to kind of garner that feeling and support and community as well, if that makes sense. So like what you're doing, Sarah, with Green Rooms Marketplace and all the work you do really is kind of bringing a new audience and a kind of a much needed younger, cooler, not always younger, like we all love houseplants at any age, but like a new vibe into horticulture that I think is missing, So that's
and I think it's great that the organizers of these big festivals are recognizing that it's a luxury to have a garden. Yeah. And there's so many people that just feel excluded because they don't have a garden. So these festivals don't mean anything to them. But in having houseplants there, you all of a sudden, you get to bring all of these people, because I think I read statistics recently that 1 in 4 people has a houseplant, which is extraordinary. Worldwide, that's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And they need to be thinking about these people because, without wanting to offend anybody, there's a lot of older people in horticulture, in the outdoor gardening world. And, we do need kind of fresh, younger people coming through, but because a lot of them are confined to flats, you know,
It's
there's
gardening in a different way, isn't it?
it's just gardening in a different way, and that's our message, and we really want to push that, and we've got some really exciting plans for next year. Really exciting.
Wow.
That will really push us onto a level playing field, and I cannot wait.
Very exciting.
I'm not sure if I can impart the information. I really
Well, I
want
don't know. I wasn't going to push you. I would, you know, usually I push people, but I was like, no.
Well, just you cannot miss the festivals we're at next year is all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's take it back a bit for you though, because of course you rose to fame. I hate that phrase. Through Instagram, you got a lot of followers on Instagram. You give people a lot of support there. Kind of, how did you start on Instagram? Did you start rescuing plants before you joined Instagram, or were you already on there? Did you expect it to grow as it did? And how do you feel about it now?
I was rescuing plants before I was on Instagram, but I realized that Instagram was a great platform to show other people that they could do the same thing as me, and that it was really easy. It was basic. It wasn't, you know, I'm not a botanist. I haven't studied. I'm not trained, but I just realized that if I show people a before and after and tell them what I've done, that they might be inspired to do the same thing. And of course, I want as many people as possible to stop throwing plants away. So, that's how Instagram started for me. And I guess it didn't really take off until during the pandemic, unsurprisingly, when everybody was at home. A huge amount of people brought plants inside, and I think that's when I was just becoming overwhelmed with, you know, my follower numbers were going up a shocking amount every day. And I was kind of like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And I was a little bit scared by it, to be honest.
Yeah, that gives a certain pressure as well, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. And having to, feeling I had to reply to everybody as well at the beginning was like a full-time job. And I wasn't being paid
asking for advice. Yeah, which must have been a lot. Yeah.
And I still to this day try and answer all of my DMs, but I just can't. But I really want to help people. You know, people are coming to me saying, I've got a 25-year-old plant from my mother who's passed away. I don't know what to do. I can't ignore messages like that.
Yeah,
I just can't.
Totally.
But no, it grew really quickly in the pandemic, and it has really surprised me. I don't know what I'm doing here. I've got no idea. And it just...
I don't think any of us know what we're really doing or what our plan is, and that is the beauty of life.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, people do ask me, what's the secret sauce? How did you do this? And I say, well, I didn't plan to do this, but I guess because my passion must come over, that it's authentic, and that's what people like.
Always the way.
I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. I'm just doing what I love, and I guess people like that, I suppose. And I'm very grateful, because although I've chosen the wrong platform because it's the only platform that doesn't pay its creators, it's my shop front, and it has given me so many opportunities. For that, I'm so grateful. So
we think it's great, Sarah. We think what you've done is amazing. So
thanks, guys.
Do you think, you know, obviously houseplants have had a massive big boost over in recent years. Do you think that was because of COVID, or was it already becoming you know, more of an interest for people? And off the back of that, do you think it's still, you know, as strong now as it was a few years ago?
I definitely think that the pandemic did inflate the desire for houseplants, and I do feel there is a slight tailing off now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sad to say that there are some independent shops that are no longer. There was a lot of independent shops that opened, you know, just after the COVID period, or during the COVID period, in fact. And yeah, we are seeing a slowing down, I think, of that. But I don't think as a trend it's going away. Absolutely not. I just think the market had become too saturated. And now it's leveling off a bit. And I mean, I think in the future, where, you know, like I've got a 17-year-old daughter, I can't imagine a time where she'll be able to afford her own house. And I think more and more people will be living in flats. So I just see this trend becoming greater.
Okay. Interesting.
I think there was a time in the pandemic as well where people wanted a jungle, so they wanted to buy hundreds of plants. But I think now, particularly me, actually, I feel I want a more curated selection of plants so that I can really see them and really appreciate each individual one, rather than just having the chaos of hundreds.
True, and all of that care, which then that's where people come unstuck sometimes.
Yes.
You know, it does take effort, but I think houseplants generally have become part of a required decor in a home, which is quite nice. You know, you're going to design your lounge. You're probably going to think about the suite that you're going to have, the coffee table, and the fact you're going to have a fiddle leaf fig in the corner as well. And that is quite nice because plants weren't considered as part of a room design, as it were, before. And that is a nice movement that I've seen as well. And certainly, you know, you see, like, this is slightly away from the trends and houseplants, but you're seeing plants used a lot in like fashion shows. There was this Gucci fashion show at Tate Modern, houseplants along the runway. You know, houseplants are really in the mainstream now, which is really cool because if you go to a garden centre now, it's not just the older demographic there. You will easily see younger people, and it becomes less and less rare to see younger people in those environments as well, which is fantastic, I think, as well.
Yeah, it's almost like you could see houseplants as a gateway, in a way, like a gateway drug to gardening in the future, I guess.
Totally. Yeah. And so I feel like plants in themselves are really mainstream now, which makes me feel very happy because this is what I've wanted for many years, if you know what I mean. So, yeah.
Apologies, my dog is scraping at the door. I hope you can't hear him.
Oh, no worries.
That's okay. We have all kinds of things on this podcast. Don't worry. Dogs whining, barking, kids coming in and out. It's fine.
But in terms of, like, if we're going to dig into the trends a little bit more, I feel like the trend for more rare houseplants kind of maybe took the houseplant market down a route that had limitations. Because, of course, only people that could afford that could get them. You know, the supply routes were going to become more difficult as well. So are we seeing kind of like a bit of a backtrack from the rarer stuff to more everyday stuff, or maybe more simple houseplants that people see? Because, you know, we can't all afford to have the more expensive plants, and a lot of people are going to buy their plants, maybe not from independents, but maybe from a garden centre or a DIY store as well. So, you know, where do you see all of that?
I feel like you're always going to have your collectors who always want the next thing that nobody else can get. And that's fine. That's completely fine. I totally get that. But yes, I agree with you. I think that that bubble has burst a bit, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, there was crazy prices back in the pandemic, you know, single nodes, you know, a stem without a leaf selling for £15,000. I'm not exaggerating. You know, I feel like that was a crazy time, and I'm sort of glad that's gone. Plants as commodities doesn't sit comfortably with me, but it's fine if that's your bag, that's okay. But in terms of trends, I really feel like begonia are becoming more of a thing.
Yeah.
Indoor begonia.
Leafy ones, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many pretty leaves, and I'm sort of really glad that I'm seeing less calathea, which I think are a disastrous houseplant.
Yeah.
Just because they are so hard to keep alive, and people, you know, will often, like a magpie, are attracted by these pretty leaves, and then they will kill it. Without a doubt, there are very few people I know that have not killed a calathea, and I feel that's a real shame because it can put people off buying another plant.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I think begonia are a great plant that I can see a lot more in the garden centres and coming through a bit more. But I am biased in my love for cacti and succulents. Okay. And I think there is a lot more interest in those now because people realise that they're so easy to keep because you have to do very little. As long as you get the right lighting, which is the brightest light possible, you can forget about them for months. I mean, you shouldn't, but you can. So if you want to go on holiday, it's fine. If you're overwhelmed with watering, it's fine. You don't need to water these guys. They are easy. So I feel like that is a trend that we should all be jumping on.
What
But
about
do you-
flowering? Yeah. Oh, sorry, Ellen. Go.
What do you think truly drives the trends? You know, it's one year it's cacti, the next year it's monstera or big foliage, plants. Where does that come from? Because if you've not grown houseplants before, you don't really know that cacti are easier than one thing or another. You wouldn't necessarily know that. So where do these trends come from? Is that because of social media, do you think, or what you can simply buy in the nursery? Where does it come from?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both, actually. I think it's social media and what the nurseries are currently growing. And Michael, you probably know far more than me about the trends because you're always at the nurseries. That's something I don't really do. So you've probably seen what they're growing, and you might be able to
but I always feel like
happening, next year.
Trends are kind of almost what we say they are sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's very
But
interesting.
who says that's the trend? Where does it start?
Yeah, no, I know.
It's true. Where does it start? I have no idea.
Well, what's very interesting, Sarah, actually, on we're gonna tag an extra piece of content on the end of this episode, and I'm gonna go to Urban Tropicana because they're in Turnham Green next to Chiswick where I live.
Oh, I love those guys so much. Shout out to Urban Tropicana. They're
definitely
amazing.
And they really put themselves on the map when it came to the Houseplant Festival as well. And I love to see them becoming part of in the thick of the community was lovely. And I'm going to run down there and kind of ask them what they have been selling the most of. So maybe that is where we'll learn a bit more about trends as well. But yeah, it's interesting.
I see actually a lot more carnivorous plants being sold as house plants.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Actually.
Which is, I guess people tend to be looking for something a bit. What's the next thing? I've got this, I've got that. What's the next thing? So I guess there is a part of that, and carnivorous plants are a really cool thing to get into.
Relatively easy, really. Despite looking very exotic.
Yeah, but you do have to know some real basic rules about those, or else you will end up with mush pretty quickly. The one thing I would suggest is watering with rainwater is a must.
Yeah.
Particularly if you live in the southeast where our water is really hard. The dissolved minerals in tap water are death for most carnivorous plants. So that's why you will see them dying in DIY shops, because they're not going to be feeding them with rainwater. They're just going to be whacking on the tap water. Yeah. So,
but with this, could you, just to make clear to listeners, could you then give them bottled water? Is that going to be better than tap water?
I guess.
Because rainwater is not so easy to find, is it?
It's not, but I don't want to be encouraging people to buy plastic bottles full of water to feed your plants, because that's sort of defeating the object of, but I think
filtered water then, filtered.
I'm not. Do you know what? I'm not entirely
sure. It's worth us kind of finding out to help then make that something that is a lot more practical for people to do at home.
Yeah, and
I
think
always put a little pot outside your door and collect rainwater. It's not like
but on a balcony, it's not so easy, is it?
I know for sure that you can use water from a tumble dryer.
Okay, that's interesting then.
Yeah, and I know we don't tend to use them so much in the UK, but from dehumidifiers too, you can use water from dehumidifiers. Wow. Yeah. Oh, and actually, if you do want to buy water, you can buy RO water, or some people have those on their taps already. So reverse osmosis water. You can buy that from aquatic shops.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just the minerals, the dissolved minerals in tap water. They can't cope with. So
it's good to have those tips for sure.
I wish they put that on the label, but they don't.
How do you feel about indoor ponds?
Indoor ponds, I'm a huge fan.
My pond.
That is beautiful, Michael. I love that. That is amazing. I am a huge fan of bringing water indoors, and I've done that on many occasions with many plants. I've done lily ponds indoors. I've done pennywort ponds. I've done bog gardens.
Oh, pennywort is a very interesting plant because that is very easy. And a little water plant as well. You can make it nice and play with that.
It's lovely.
Everybody buy yourself some Hydrocotyl vulgaris. It is the best plant. If you're an overwaterer, you cannot kill this plant with too much water because it's aquatic, it's semi-aquatic. And it looks like, the Pelea peperomoides. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
I think
yeah, definitely.
It looks like that. It's got little circular leaves. It's so cute. It's so easy to grow. Everybody needs it.
It's
You
so
need that in your
popular in
pond.
China, actually. It's popular in China, like they just have little pots of it just around on doorsteps or
And
here
it's
and there.
edible. Did you know it's edible?
Ah, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But make sure
Okay.
it's the right one. Hydrocrottal vulgaris. Yeah.
Okay. Oh God, where's the time? Oh, I knew this would happen. Honestly, this is such a good chat. Ellen, I got one more thing to ask before I think you're coming in with a different question. How do you feel about flowering pot plants?
I love them.
Oh God, I'm so relieved. I thought you were going to be. I hate them.
I absolutely love them. I think they're so underrated, and I would. And I want. Okay, well, I was thinking more streptocarpus and
Gesneriads,
and orchids and the likes. But I am a huge advocate of flowering houseplants. I wish more people would get into them. Let's start a trend, okay? The new trend is flowering houseplants.
Yeah, well,
we started
it. We started it.
That's how it starts. So if we will test this theory, is how a trend starts by simply saying it on a podcast.
So Michael and I have said it, and now let's see what happens. Okay.
I love that.
Cool.
Sarah, I'm going to ask you like the cheesiest question ever, but it just seems like we've got to ask you.
She is the cheese queen.
Oh,
I'm the cheese queen. But what is your favourite houseplant? If you could only have one, what would it be?
Okay, it's sort of an easy one for me. It's not, well, it's a genus of plants, and I've got many of them, so I can't pick one out of the genus because they're all the same. But if you have seen my Instagram, it's a Cleistocactus straussii, and it's between 120 and 150 years old. I'm not kidding you. And I inherited that. I inherited. I got that from a family whose dad had sadly passed away. They didn't have the space to keep it. And they called me. They didn't know me. I don't know them. They called me. They said, we really want it to go to a good home. Would you have it? And I was completely honored. And if I had to save one plant, it would be that one. I just love it. It's not about how it looks, although it is in a way, because it's Cleistocactus are they're white hairy cactus.
Is that the bearded man, isn't it? Do they call it something like that?
It's similar. It's not actually the bearded man. That's a different genus, but it's similar. But for me, it's what that plant means.
Yeah.
You know, all that it's seen, you know, it probably was alive before the Queen was on the throne. It was probably, you know, born in like the times of Queen Victoria, which is just mad. It's lived through 2 world wars. It's you know, if it had eyes and could speak, what could it tell you? And I just feel like
houseplant. That's like a tree as a houseplant. Like that. I think you see trees that are really old, and you just think,
exactly.
That's the same for that plant.
Yeah, no, exactly. And also a big thing for me is just all the love that is within that plant. I can feel it. It was really loved, that plant, and it just makes me smile. It makes me really happy that I can now be the custodian, and it can continue living for another, I don't know how many years I've got left, but you know, it can carry on for a good few decades.
Sarah, you make me laugh. This is so interesting. This is about not just connecting with plants, but the memories that the plants hold as well, which is really
that's really what I'm all about. I think plants transcend their, you know, what they basically are to us, which is food and oxygen. They really transcend that and become almost like living memorials in a way to
absolutely.
Especially
houseplants, because houseplants are often passed around. Like a plant is more likely to stay in a garden and then be witness to different owners, but a houseplant is likely to be physically passed around and in different environments, isn't it? So
and I can see one out of the corner of my eye right now that I got really sadly from a house clearance. I didn't know it was going to be a house clearance when I turned up, but the house was being cleared, and there was this really sad Christmas cactus that I'd seen on Facebook Marketplace that I just wanted, and I don't know, it looked so sad. It almost embodied the grief of some, you know, without sounding a bit weird, but I did really feel that it would look so sad and it would look so neglected, and it almost looked like it taken on the grief of its caretaker having passed away. But it brings me so much joy now because I can see it out the corner of my eye, and it's really perky now and looks amazing. And knowing that I've got that and I've brought that back to health, it's just brings me a great deal of happiness.
That's really cool. That's really interesting. Wow. So how many houseplants have you got now?
I don't count. I've got way less than I used to because, like I said previously, I want to really be able to see them and appreciate them. So, I mean, I really don't know. I'd estimate a couple of hundred, perhaps, because I actually have a greenhouse full of cacti as well. So, including them, it's probably about 300, I guess.
Oh, you've got this really cool greenhouse, the pure one, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean it's great. It looks beautiful, but it's not so practical in winter. I don't want to. It feels wrong to spend money and use energy heating plants. So I don't heat it in winter, so they all have to come inside, which is a bit crazy.
I bet your family love that then.
Oh yeah, they really love that. Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh my gosh. We're going to ask in a minute where people can find out more about you, but first of all, give us a few lines on your book, because you released a book along the kind of rescuing plants theme, didn't you? A couple of years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in 2022. So it was just, everything I've learned through the practical, the practicalities of bringing a plant back to life. I've just put that into the book. So it's not rocket science. Some of it's really basic, but it goes on into a bit into the ethos of why I believe we shouldn't be throwing plants away. But also I feel like in a lot of houseplant books, it touches on problems, but doesn't really delve deep into the problems and how to solve them. So a big part of the book is how to rescue your plants so that they don't end up in the bin, because that's what I don't want to happen. So there's it's a big book, but about 80 pages are dedicated to problems and I've done some kind of flow charts so you can work out what the problem is, and then it gives you solutions to how you can resolve the problems. I do have another book coming out, which is next year.
Have you?
News.
Yeah. I've got a book about cacti and succulents coming out.
Have you?
Yeah, so that's in spring next year. So I'm really excited about that.
Really cool.
That's amazing. So you've got Green Rooms Market doing amazing. Hopefully we'll be seeing you at the shows next year. You've got a book coming out. You're going from strength to strength for sure.
There's lots to look forward to next year. I can't wait. Yeah, I'm really excited.
And where can our listeners find you online? I mean, honestly, I should think the majority of listeners have actually already followed you and know all about you as it is. But if they don't and they would like to learn more about you and also about houseplants, where can we find you?
So I'm on Instagram, and my handle is @theplantrescuer. That's the best place to find me. I'm most active on there. I am on TikTok and places like that, but I'm most active on Instagram. So I'm not going to say, please DM me your problems, because I'm already overwhelmed, but yeah, that's where you can contact me. I do have a website as well, which is theplantrescuer.com. And if you're looking for advice on keeping your plants alive, or you know somebody who struggles, then you can buy my book, which is The Plant Rescuer, the book your houseplants want you to read.
Okay.
You can find that all over the place. I see it in shops everywhere, and obviously online too.
Yeah, handily it's bright yellow, so it does stick out. You can see it.
Yeah. Which is just what you want. Thank you so much, Sarah. It's been an absolute pleasure. It always is a pleasure talking to you. You lovely ball of lovely
fluff. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lovely speaking to you as well.
Oh, but Ellen, don't forget, we got a little quick fire quiz, because we knew that Sarah would be so indecisive about her houseplants. So we're going to ask her actually on the spot, right?
On the spot.
Go for it?
Yeah, on the spot. You go first. Ready, okay, Sarah? This is a this or that quiz.
So, Sarah, we're going to drill down your favourites here. So, Echeveria or Euphorbia?
Euphorbia.
Begonia or bromeliad?
Oh, gosh, that's a hard one. I'm going to say bromeliad.
Oh, I thought you were all about the begonia. Okay, Syngonium or Senecio?
Senecio.
Ooh.
Alocasia or aloe vera?
There's a theme here. I'm always going to go for the succulents. Aloe vera.
Philodendron or pothos?
Philodendron.
Oh, nice.
And one final question, Sarah. Rescue or throw away?
Throw away.
What?
It's a joke. It's a joke. Rescue. You didn't even need to ask that, really, did you?
Thank you, Sarah. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Really
Thanks so much,
Thank
guys.
you for being here, darling. And look out for not only her book, but also the Plant Rescuer boxes in various independent houseplant stores. Hey guys, we've had this little houseplant episode with Sarah Gerard-Jones, who is the plant rescuer, and I told you guys that I would pop down to Urban Tropicana, which is in Chiswick. I live in Brentford, but I pretend it's Chiswick. But I'm here with Lewis. Him and his partner, his husband, Steve, run Urban Tropicana, which is in Chiswick/Turnham Green, but also you've got one in Northfields. And we wanted to talk to you today about houseplant trends, what are working, what are not working. So introduce us to you, first of all. How did you end up running a houseplant shop in West London?
Good question. COVID is the honest answer. So like everyone, I had a bit of a career change during COVID. It started actually by sharing photos online of my houseplants.
Yeah. Because you were already quite into plants.
Yeah, more gardening at that time.
Okay.
And then...
Hey, we have a live customer in here, so we might need to pause in a moment.
Any questions, give me a shout.
Right, so there you go. That was a real-life customer who came in for a cane, and we managed to upsell a moss pole, but she didn't buy it, but nevertheless. Right, where were we?
COVID.
It was COVID. You love houseplants.
Yeah.
So, la.
Yes, I started posting a few pictures online, and they got quite a bit of traction. And I thought maybe I could... People were asking where I got my plants from. So I thought, maybe this could be a business. So,
what were you working in before that, though?
No, I was cabin crew for a very famous airline, long haul. So completely different.
And did that COVID affected that, or you were already out of that at that point?
On that point, I was on paternity leave because we just adopted our son.
Okay.
Literally the day before COVID started. So it was a bit of a whirlwind year. We became parents, we started a business, and obviously COVID.
Oh my God, so many things at once.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So while I was at home with that little boy on paternity, I was getting a little bit bored, I have to be honest, because being at home with a child by yourself it can be tough. So I literally went online, found a wholesale supplier, and ordered myself 5 trolleys worth of plants with no real idea of what I was going to do with it.
Sometimes you need to do it that way, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But then this big Arctic lorry turned up outside our house on a little residential street. We live on a hill with 5 trolleys full of plants.
Were you going to send them mail order or what?
At that point, I built a very, very flimsy website, and I thought, they'll sell. And so we took all the 5 trolleys, we loaded all the plants into our house, into the loft. And I thought, what have I done? I spent quite a bit of money again. I thought this is a big investment. And about a week later, we got notified there was a market taking place, Duck Pond Market. And I just sent a quick email to say, could we come with some plants? And they were like, yes, please come. And we took a car full of plants and we sold them all.
Amazing, wow. What were they? All different, or
everything.
But jungly vibe.
Yeah, jungly.
You're very much urban jungle vibe.
More kind of the unusual stuff. Ripsalis, just bits people maybe haven't seen before. And we sold out.
That's so cool.
And then the next week we went back to the market again. We started doing another market. We did the first ever Chiswick Flower Market, which was insane.
I remember it.
Insane. I think there was a queue for the whole 6 hours to get into the market.
Because that has really been a great thing for West London, the Chiswick market as a whole, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of, the area on flower market days is it's a different place.
Yeah, totally.
So that's been great, I think. And then 6 months later, we opened our Northfield store as a pop-up, and it gave us kind of a bit of just an insight at how to run a business, rents, business rates, all that kind of stuff. And because that was a pop-up, excuse me, we were looking for a kind of a new location, and Chiswick kind of just felt like the natural place to be. Extortionate, of course, to be here, but it's where we kind of felt like was part of our home with the flower market. And then our pop-up in Northfields is still there nearly 4 years later.
Wow,
So,
amazing.
We've got 2 shops. Yes.
So houseplant shop going well. But obviously what is important is the kind of little, accessories at the side, because you're now doing terrarium workshops, you've got the Chiswick Market as well, you were at Malvern Show as well.
We did, and we won an award.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Did I mention that one? No, we won the Best Exhibit Award.
Here it is, there you go.
There it is. And another one.
Wow.
So,
Cool.
that was a bit of a confidence boost because, sorry, as kind of a non-professional, to be doing this, it's purely just through a love of plants. So sometimes you can feel a little bit kind of inferior to others because you don't have the qualifications, you don't have the kind of expert knowledge. But we obviously got something there, and to have it kind of recognised by the RHS was massive.
Superb.
Massive.
I love seeing it's almost you became part of the bigger houseplant family, and you were networking and kind of online, and so you really kind of installed yourselves, and it was amazing.
And it's difficult trying to kind of manage family life with running your own business. It's always a balance, and sometimes
100%.
obviously the business suffers because we've got a family to look after. But that's just the way it is, I guess.
And you were working with Sarah Gerard-Jones, who's a guest on our podcast as well. And you also stock her rescue boxes, don't you? Which we've talked to her about.
Which is a great initiative. I mean, we've never thrown plants away, ever. It's just not something I would do. Previously, we'd donate them to local schools or organisations, but nothing would go in the bin. I just can't bear for the wastage. The time it takes to produce a plant, all the elements.
Totally.
It breaks my heart to throw something in the bin. So when Sarah started the rescue box project, we were like, straight on board. And it is great because, it's not a money maker, but it's not for that. It's just to reduce waste.
Yeah, totally. So where are we? It's Wednesday? No, it's Thursday. Thursday morning in the shop. What times are busier? Is it busier on the weekends or in the evening, or how does that work here?
What I've learned in retail is that you can't predict anything.
No.
You can have a Saturday that's absolutely dead, and then a crazy Wednesday afternoon. There's so many factors affecting, I think, the high street at the minute. The economy, the weather, anything. So you can't. That traditional thing of Saturday is your best trading day. I don't think that exists anymore.
Yeah, true, because everyone has a very different working pattern these days.
If it's nice weather, people are out enjoying the sun. They're not shopping.
100%.
If it's raining, they're not going to come out.
Totally. And you must get people coming in that have seen it on Instagram and kind of want to visit because it's pretty photogenic as well.
We've had people come from Cornwall to visit us.
Really?
It's insane. It's quite humbling as well when people tell you that they've been following you from Cornwall and they just came to London for a day.
It's a new way to recruit customers and fans of our stores now. Yeah.
And I think that's it. We can sit here all day in the shop and wait for customers to come to us, but we've got to go to them. We've got to find a new way.
And social media is free of charge to use as well, so it's a platform that might as well. And the houseplant is such a community as well, isn't it? Which is cool.
There is, and I think people who tend to like plants are quite nice people. It's kind of the animal thing as well. If you like animals, you can tell a lot about a person. You don't get people coming here who are not very nice.
No,
there's almost a connection with nature, and people are quite chilled and friendly. And we saw that at our terrarium workshop on Tuesday. Everyone,
first one ever.
Great bunch of people. Really cool. Really, really friendly.
Really cool.
Really enjoyable.
How many did you have?
Managed to squeeze in 6.
Yeah,
the plan was 8 initially, but 6 is. I think smaller groups are better.
Yeah, no, definitely.
They're quite intimate. You get to talk to everyone. You get to check in with everyone. And the feedback so far has been really good.
Oh, that's really cool. And when people walk in, do they know what they want generally, or how does it work with a houseplant shop?
So a lot of people are looking for gifts.
Yeah.
So when it's gifts, people are looking for that kind of aesthetically pleasing plant. So they're going for vibrant things like your calatheas.
Whilst also being easy to care for.
The best thing within small independent is we can actually give customers time and say to them, you might like the look of a calathea.
Makes them come back as well.
Yeah, you might like the look of the rattlesnake but it's not easy. So you might struggle, you might kill it, and then no one wins.
Well, no, they'll appreciate your honesty, and that's why they'll come back.
They're going to give up and say, well, I killed it, I'm not going to try again. Well, actually, why don't you try with something that's a little bit easier? And we'll give them the right advice. Because the natural thing is to buy what you like the look of. But if you're living in a basement flat with no windows, not everything's going to be happy.
Are you doing mail order as well?
We do,
Yeah.
yes. So we ship nationwide.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes.
And like, is a bit of a trickle with mail order, or is that busy, or how does that compare?
You tend to find it's the rarer stuff that sells online.
Okay, yeah.
And the rarer stuff doesn't sell as well in the shops.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a different type of customer, isn't it? That might be further afield.
Exactly. And they want the rarer stuff. But if they're looking for the kind of the general kind of prettier things for gifts and things like that, one of the most common requests is low maintenance. That's what people want.
Yeah,
they want a plant
totally.
that's in their environment, but they don't want the pressure of watering it 3 times a week.
Yeah. So what plant do you sell the most of, would you say?
I'd say one of our top sellers it's going to be a bit of a traditional one. It's going to be a snake plants.
Okay.
But again, when people come in, we'll say everyone knows mother-in-law's tongue. They'll know the kind of traditional green and yellow. But have they ever seen a star granite?
Yeah, trying to move them something different within that same. Yeah.
The peace lily, again, a very popular one. But have you seen the variegated peace lily?
Yeah.
So you don't have to kind of stick, even though they are low maintenance. You don't have to stick to the kind of traditional ones.
You haven't got any spider plants in here, have you?
Spider plants came in yesterday.
Are they? Where are they?
They came in. Good question. Oh, there they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nice. Oh, what a classic.
And it's, not to be too snobby, but sometimes you can think, I don't really want to stop spider plants. But people ask for them.
Yeah.
So,
and they're nice.
And they are beautiful.
Yeah.
They are
Have you
beautiful.
ever had the green one though?
There's a green one hanging right there. There's
The
one left. The
complete
curly
green one is just beautiful. Where's
up
that?
there.
Oh yeah. So cool. See, that's kind of, you might say more classy.
But it is, you can have a monstera, but maybe try a different kind of monstera.
But have you noticed, like, you've been open obviously 3-4 years now, have you noticed a change in the trends of what people buy? Are people spending more on a plant or less? Or is it kind of hard to
I think
down?
Anyone who runs a business at the minute is going to tell you that sales are down of whatever you're selling, whether it be jewellery next door, whether it be coffee. People are spending less, so sales are down. And people, I think, they want more for their money. So when they do buy a plant, they want good value. They want good quality. I think people's habits have changed, but I think it's more economical rather than the kind of plant world.
Yeah.
We've seen lots of things come through that we thought were going to be the next big thing, and it just hasn't. The
Coleus. You haven't got any Coleus. They could be the next big thing.
Sparman, I can never pronounce it.
Sparmania.
Yeah. A couple of years ago.
They're so easy.
Yeah, beautiful as well.
Oh, it wasn't me that told you this next big thing, was it?
I don't.
If it was me, I
don't think it
apologise.
was. No, but I think they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was going to be the next Monstera.
So easy.
No, so we got a batch in. They sat here and they sat here.
Really?
So I think trying to change people's.
Someone told me that is a plant they use a lot in National Trust properties because it doesn't mind drafts and stuff like that. It's like, but it is. I've got one at home. I noticed it's quite a diva with the soil can never be too wet. You've always got to let it completely dry out between watering, and I think that's a hard thing for a houseplant lover or even amateur to get that balance as well.
We find most people kill their plants with too much water.
Totally.
Inconsistency. And I always think, my advice, what I do at home is have one day of the week when you water. Nothing's going to need twice a week unless we've got a heat wave. But have a Thursday. Does it mean water on a Thursday?
Yeah, that's the day you go around, you assess. Yeah. Same.
But if you're walking, like I used to do in the past, a Friday night, walking past my plant with a glass of water, in the pot it went, without really checking did it need.
Yeah, no, totally.
And lots do that.
I see what you mean.
So water is definitely, I think, the biggest problem. Overwatering. Underwatering doesn't really, things will survive.
Yeah.
You forget them a couple of weeks.
And what about, I'm looking here at some of their carnivorous plants. Now, have they become more popular recently? Because because they're relatively easy to grow. You at least too wet is not a problem.
Yes. I mean, I think there's again a lot of misinformation about carnivorous plants. The labels all plants come with don't help at all. They're so confusing. Which again, being small and independent, we can spend time with people and say to them, listen, this is how you care for them. And they've always been quite popular, to be honest. But it's always been kind of the Venus flytraps.
Yeah.
But now people are kind of Sarracenia.
So much more showcase.
Absolutely. So we're kind of trying to say that's a Venus flytrap. Yeah, that's one type. But this is also another type of carnivorous plant. Young kids love them.
Yeah, definitely.
Young kids love them.
It's a really nice gateway plant for young people.
And if kids are interested in carnivorous plants, hopefully that's going to lead to they're going to start adventuring into other types of plants.
Oh, totally. So it's kind of still massively foliage, isn't it? And I know I've seen some orchids in here before, but flowering plants really never...
No,
people never catch on to them, do they?
No.
Such a shame, really.
And I think there's been a massive increase in prices, especially Phalaenopsis. Prices have gone through the roof. You've got two ends. You've got the kind of supermarket £5 Phalaenopsis, which we can't compete with, but then you've got the kind of £25-30, which is a little bit high for if someone's looking to buy a gift. So it is more foliage.
But it's funny because it's a completely different customer to the one that would buy a pot chrysanthemum.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And we've seen that at the RHS shows as well. When we did Malvern and when we did Hampton Court Palace, we got quite a lot of rare stares at our plants because people think, why would anyone buy?
Really?
Why would anyone buy that plant, for example? Because it might
it's
not.
It's a very different customer, isn't it? Completely.
Yeah, and it is that thing of explaining to someone that a plant that's got almost black foliage is beautiful in itself.
Yeah. Oh no, totally. And I guess easier maintenance because it stays looking good for longer.
Absolutely.
Something flowering is going to finish flowering.
Yeah.
What about Streptocarpus? I see you got a little one down there.
Yeah.
They're doing well because they're such an easy family of plants, Gesneriads, but they never really got to the bright lights,
No, and I think people struggle with Streptocarpus. I find them easy because I tend to neglect them, and they seem to do really well.
They like to dry out between watering as well.
I think Monty Don was on Gardener's World on Friday, and he mentioned Streptocarpus, how he couldn't give it life. But I think because I'm an underwaterer at home, they thrive.
Well, the thing is, a plant will let you know when it needs water, and it will wilt.
Yeah.
But it will also wilt when it's got too much water.
Absolutely.
So
find that balance.
The difference, yeah.
But like you say, with the flowering ones, you've only got a certain amount of kind of shelf life in the stores.
But the Streptos, like the Crystal Ice series, was always flowering all year round.
And they'll come back, and they'll come back, and they'll come back. They might have a couple of weeks where there's not many buds on them, but they bounce back straight away.
Okay.
And with the Streptocarpus, these are from Dibley's. So again, Brexit has been an issue for us. Yeah. So we're trying to kind of work with more British growers, which is a good thing, but also it limits us as well because British growers aren't quite there yet. Hopefully, it's going to change.
Yeah. But it's nice to see a bit of a spotlight on Dibley's because they've been plugging away for many years and never really pushed themselves up enough. And it's so nice that they're now being uplifted in that way.
We had a kind of a trolley full of begonias, and they've all gone.
Oh, amazing! Oh. But even across all of their other Gesneriads, there's so much cool stuff.
Yeah, well. Some beautiful plants. Their polka dot series of Streptocarpus, they sold out within 2 days.
Really?
Yeah.
So people will buy flowering plants.
But again, demographic-wise, looking who bought them, they tend to be the kind of more mature customer who already knew about them. The younger generations, I think, maybe
we're probably excited to see some new ones.
So it's kind of introducing them to the kind of the younger people as well, and saying. Because they are quite old-fashioned. They're a little bit kind of primular.
Well, over time, my grandma was growing them, and I taught me how to take cuttings and everything. And
Persimmons are kind of African violets and things. You can get so many beautiful
kind of become like chic and like look at dahlias, for example. So I remember this
happened 6 years ago. Dahlias were not cool.
No, not at all.
It was not cool at all. Now,
so your demographic then is really incredibly mixed, would you say?
Yes. I mean, we have to remember we're in West London. So it's and we're in Chiswick. We're in, But yeah, I think there's a good cross section. The best thing is what I love to see is I can get. You all right? Not today, mate. I'll be all right. Thank you. Cheers. Window cleaner.
Live window cleaning.
What I love to see is that I can be here first thing in the morning and I can get a 16-year-old student come in who's fascinated with plants. 20 minutes later, I can get a 60-year-old builder come in.
So cool,
and you think there's no one person who likes plants. There's no
That's
one
amazing.
type.
I think like it's become more acceptable to be able to love plants and be able to show you love plants as well, which is such a great thing.
And it is the kind of the builder who comes in here, or and they love the beauty, the delicate plant. And I think it's amazing. Plants aren't just for women. Flowers aren't just for women.
No.
And that's
something really opened them up, and it wasn't necessarily the pandemic. It was a little bit before that as well.
And I think one customer did say to us one day, it was never our plan at all. But one male customer came in and said, it feels like a plant shop where men feel welcome. And that's never been a consideration of ours.
Well, what do you think is different then?
I don't know, but then I did think about it, because it was quite I've never considered that. But I did then look around and thought, are plant shops, flower shops, in their design?
Because it's primarily flowers and then some pot plants.
Yeah.
Well, that's more a florist anyway. But,
but it was an interesting comment.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's the kind of industrially look with the metals and the kind of display, maybe.
But it's so funny that still in society kind of like men feel more comfortable when they're drawn to something more masculine as well.
Yeah.
Like he's more comfortable because the walls are black. You know what I mean? And that's kind of it just makes you laugh.
And it wasn't intentional.
No, totally.
Reflection of our kind of personal taste.
Well, you created a lovely butch houseplant shop here. Well done.
I don't know how to manage that.
Oh, the irony. I got two more questions though, really, because houseplants, but also you've got some dried flowers here.
Yeah.
From time to time, you've got some outdoor stuff. Do you see much more potential with outdoor patio? Because I've banged on to you about this many times, I'm sure, but people don't do enough with window boxes and balcony planters.
Absolutely. And if we had more space outside, it's definitely something we'd take more time with. But we've got, a 2 metre stretch of pavement which we're allowed to kind of use, which we pay for. But I definitely love to have had more space. Definitely like a little courtyard.
Because you see some potential there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially with all the developments in the area now. There aren't many houses. Yeah. Everyone's in flats with balconies. We do have quite a few customers, Chiswick, Brentford area, in the new developments who've got balconies who want kind of mini gardens. But again, with the space here, we can't actually physically do it here. We visit them, we'll take a look at their site, and then provide the plants for them.
And dried flowers, is this another comeback?
This is kind of more autumnal thing now. So again, as the season changes, there's a lot of indoor plants we kind of stop getting in now because of the cold, because
some stuff would naturally be dormant, and you don't want to mislead the customer, I guess.
I'm seeing plant shops now online selling caladiums.
Well, when it was a John Lewis advert, they were all selling Venus flytrap, which was a time when it would be dormant.
Which we were getting so many requests for them over Christmas, and obviously we were saying to me, you can't get them now, and if you are, people were selling them.
It's a bit misleading.
Seasons, with the season change now, we'll reduce probably our indoor plant stock by maybe 20%, and it gets replaced by the dry bouquets, candles, more kind of autumnal winter stock.
Okay, cool, nice. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our little chat, because another real-life customer just walked in.
Another one. See you one day.
No, so nice to talk to you, and tack this on the end of our interview with Sarah Gerard-Jones as well. And thank you very much, Lewis, the tall one.
The tall one.
That's what you put in the email.
Yeah,
Lewis,
the tall one.
Cool. See you later, man. Hope you have a good, successful trading day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, darling. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well.
Oh, I can't see you though. That makes me sad.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't.
This white outline on the black background. That's me.
Yeah, but I can't see your face.
I've changed my face.
Pardon?
I've changed my face into a graphic.
Oh, your face is just now MJP. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you.
I love unnerving you. You're so cute, Ella Mary.
This is so weird.
Don't tell me off if you see that I'm laying down, all right?
I knew you'd be laying down anyway.
You could already tell by my delivery.
Yeah, there's a tone in your voice when you're laying down.
I'm having a very busy day, Ellen Mary.
Are you?
Yeah.
You don't look like it.
Well, no, this is my interim. Like multitasking my lay down with recording.
Tell me about your day.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I will. I've just been planting containers at the houseplant shop, in the garden. Holly and Nikki, the mother and daughter. It's really cool. I was like the work experience girl.
That's so cute. You work in a shop.
I refused to sweep up, but I did bring them a cappuccino.
You
but
refused
then,
to sweep up.
well, no, I just said that's maybe not for me. But I did bang some nails into the bottom of a tin bath with a hammer.
You use tools.
And I planted 4 containers. They were gorgeous, Ella Mary, honestly.
What is this work experience for, Michael Perry?
Just for fun. Just life.
Just
There's no
fun
reason.
life.
They're going to sell the containers at their weekend market on Goulburn Road. So how cool is that?
Cool. That's really cool.
Because I love planting these style, and we talked I'll come and do some one day. And so, then I was there and we did it. It's really cool.
So basically they're going to be advertised as planted by Michael Perry, meaning that people will dash to the market to buy them.
Oh, it's so funny. I'm not so funny. That's a weird thing to say. It's so funny. I was saying to them, it's I don't know how you feel about this. It's really, I don't assume that someone's going to want a container just because I planted it. Do you know what I mean? It's if I end up thinking that, it's oh, just get over yourself, Michael. Do you know what I mean? So I was I don't know if I'm comfortable if they're sold as planted by me, if you know what I mean? Because I'm not
I think they should have a big sign in saying planted by Mr. Plantgeek.
It's just weird to kind of approach yourself like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah.
You know people are going to come and buy them because you had your hands on them.
But honestly, you don't, because it's just container. Do you know what I mean? And also, it's the same question when someone's oh, do you get recognised or this and that? And because it's it's in a very small context. Do you know what I mean? You do very little in terms of, It's not
it's
Kate Winslet.
It's nice you're still grounded, Michael.
Yeah, shut up. Honestly. Oh, Melon. How are you? Your hair looks nice in this kind of housewife style.
In this housewife style? What does that mean?
It's a really kind of casual, urgent style,
Casual, urgent. This actually, I would say,
it's just really laissez-faire. Is that the right word?
I like that, laissez-faire.
Yeah, in a nice way.
Basically, it's just a messy bun.
Yeah, no, but I really like this look. It's really nice.
Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you. It was a quick tie-up before I came on here because it is pretty messy. So It is a messy bun, but I appreciate the compliment very much.
Oh, what time is it in Japan?
In the US, it's 10 to 9 in the morning.
Oh, how lovely. Have you had your celery juice yet?
I've had my celery juice and walked the dog.
Oh, Ellen, how lovely. How's the weather? Is the autumn really popping?
Well, we've got about another 2 weeks here before the leaves change.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it's usually...
So it's still summer?
It's hot in the day, really, really hot, but then overnight it drops to be quite cold. So we're...
Oh, how desert-like.
Very much... dewy mornings and chilly in the morning where you'd be wearing a coat, but then in the day you're out in t-shirt and shorts. So
yeah,
this afternoon it will be 26 degrees. So what's that? Late 70s, and maybe higher. So yeah, yesterday I spent the afternoon putting up some bulbs, doing my bulb lasagna.
Oh, cute.
And I didn't film it because I'm so bored of seeing bulb lasagnas on.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes you just have to be in the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much that I don't film. Oh, yeah. I don't even film much these days, but you're just doing it. You're just in it. And I don't know. And you're right. Everyone's seen it before, Oh, God, we sound really moany, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we do. I'm not moaning about it. It's just no one needed my bulb lasagna because there's plenty of other people doing bulbs.
Yeah,
put it that
exactly.
way. So, yeah, I planted up loads of bulbs and had a tidy up outside, and it's a nice time. It's a nice time of year because in the summer when it's super hot, you don't get any respite. In the evenings, it's just as hot.
Really?
It's just always hot. So this is a really lovely time of year, but we have about another 2 weeks before the full fall colour, and then because of the weather this year, this year's meant to be a spectacular year. So, and you won't beat it. You just can't beat it. It's just stunning. So yeah.
Well, I have to say, Melon Harry, the autumn colour here, especially in London, I think it's really I don't know if it's seen as a good year, but it's really feels nice at the minute. It's really very vivid, and it's been very sunny. And that obviously, shows it off much better as well. So
I've seen some beautiful photos online, and it does look at the moment. And I think it's dependent on weather, isn't it, or the heat, as to whether it's particularly vibrant year or not. So you've got a vibrant year, I reckon. I'd just like to explain to everyone that Michael's doing this weird tongue thing that he does, which really winds me up.
Look at the little begonia.
That begonia is a very cute little begonia.
Where is it? I can't remember. I can't remember how to switch the camera. Why is this so confusing?
There we go. Nice.
It's got little dinky flowers, and it's being launched by the YPHA. How cool is that?
I filled in the survey for them pre the.
Oh, cool!
And I hear. Tell us a little bit about it, because actually that looked really cool where they were pitching their ideas.
Yeah, it was like Dragon's Den, and I was the Simon Cowell. Hang on, that's the wrong show.
Imagine.
Well, no, but like for me, I wanted to give all the feedback, and I wanted to say the things that were, that were good, or the things that I thought could improve. And I think that's the only way you could be helpful to people. Do you know what I mean? Okay,
but tell listeners what it was all about.
What?
Tell listeners what it was about.
Yeah, I'm about to.
Oh.
This is the start of my story, Ellen.
Oh, okay. Gosh, dragging it out or what?
Jesus. I hate it when you're like this. So it was a really good day. Yeah. I love frustrating you. This is my hobby. So anyway, so there was two teams, like the red team. No, not the red team. The green team and the blue team. And they went off and had to then pitch a whole marketing program for it, and plan the pricing, the naming, kind of the social media campaign, and then pitch it to 10 of us panelists on the day in Worcester last week. And then we chose the winning team and the winning aspects that we would bring together to name it. But it was so interesting because they both approached it really differently. One was going more down a kind of gifting aspect, whereas the other one was more kind of as a durable outdoor plant. So it was really, really cool. And the first time I'd ever been on a panel for that sort of thing as well. So that was really, really cool for me too. So I love it. I love doing these different things like that. And the fact that they put this together is just really amazing. These YPHA initiatives are brilliant. And they're about to do something with vintage horticultural books for Christmas as well, which is really cool, like a book swap. Yeah. They haven't even put the PR out yet, so I'm spoiling that. But it's really cool.
They might have done by the time this goes out.
I don't believe in embargoes. When you get these press releases, they got an embargo. I'm always get over yourself.
Why don't they just send them on the day that they're actually releasing them? Why do the embargo bit?
No, I guess because then you have to get it ready for print, and then it's released on that day of print, I suppose, is the thing.
Yeah, for print magazines, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
it's
really
just funny
cool,
that I'm always get over yourself.
Get over yourself.
Oh, honestly. My legs are so brown. It's really amazing.
Well, you are walking around in shorts even in autumn, so you're going to get the sun no matter what, right?
I'm ready for the gym, Ellen Mary. I'm going to the gym at 2:20.
Are you?
2:20. Oh, honestly, I think I really I got what do you call it? What's the word for it? I think I packed too much into my day today. I don't know if there's a word for that brings it all together.
You just have a very busy day. Do you have a calmer day tomorrow? That's the important bit.
I got a meeting at QVC, but it's also my birthday.
No, it's never your birthday tomorrow, is it?
Did you know that or not? I hope you do.
Yeah, it's in my diary. Look, I'd like to.
Not like you have to give me a present.
I'd like to show you this. Look, MP birthday.
Oh, that's cool. Oh. You're also having a B vitamin shot tomorrow. I really want to do that, actually.
I have a B12 injection once a week, but I do it. So they give them to me. So I have 4 shots a month, and I just do myself 1 a week.
I wonder if you could do that in the UK yourself. They probably wouldn't trust you to do it yourself.
I don't know, probably, but I go to place in Charlotte called Of Me, which is, well, I'm going for a facial there this afternoon. It's my self-care day today. Look, you're part of my self-care day.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And I'm going to have a facial, and then part of the membership is they give you B12 shots, and they can do them when you go there, or you can take them home. So I just take them home with me.
And you feel you notice a nice difference with those?
I think I forget to take tablets or vitamins, so it's a great way of getting a vitamin. You know, everyone should have anyway. People always say it was only vegans, but actually everyone.
Oh no, yeah, definitely everyone can benefit.
So that's sort of my top one, really, to have. So yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah,
that's it. So it's a reminder for me in my diary, really. So tell me about your birthday. Apart from your meeting at QVC, are you doing anything?
I just go for a dinner with a friend, but the thing, I'm not really into birthdays because you know what? I do cool stuff 364 days of the year. Do you know what I mean? No, but there's suddenly this pressure, you must celebrate a birthday. It's like I'm celebrating my whole bloody life. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like I love that. I just
celebrate life every day.
But I don't like this pressure on a certain day. You know, vis-a-vis, is that the right thing to say? Vis-a-vis Christmas as well. You know, it's like I'll have fun when I want to. You know. And the only reason you need to do something notable on your birthday is in case someone asks you, what did you do on your birthday? Because if you're going to be I cleaned my windows and washed my step, no, everyone's going to feel sorry for you. But it's you might be absolutely fine doing that, you know? I don't know. I hate this pressure around these days, these birthdays and Christmas and stuff. It's honestly, ask me what I did last Tuesday, you know? Don't worry about birthdays.
Okay, Michael, what did you do last Tuesday?
I can't remember, but I'm sure it was cool.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know, I hate that pressure.
I do get what you're saying. I'm not a big celebration person for any of those things, but it is about you, you know, and I, as I've got a little bit older, I've been a little bit more appreciative of the day because we're privileged to be here, you know.
But I'm thankful for that every day.
I don't disagree with you. It's just a reminder, isn't it? That's all.
Interesting, Ellen Mary.
That's very good.
Have you tried your TRE yet?
No, not yet. Your trauma release.
Yeah, really
you
interesting.
Had a good experience, yeah.
Yeah, it was. You could do it yourself at home easily, and I went the other day for the first time with an instructor, and it's basically. Because you hold a lot of your trauma and tension and mental stuff is held in your body, physically. Yeah. And they've kind of in the last few years, they're kind of starting to make this link more and more, which is great because it's then spilling out onto the mainstream, which is super cool. And the TRE is really because obviously a lot of your fight and flight is in kind of your legs and your hips. So to release a lot of tension in that area. You would you go through about 7 exercises to really tie your legs, and then you lay on your back and kind of have your legs together like butterfly, and then you raise your hips to then tie that part, and then you drop them down in a butterfly, and then you bring them up in a certain position, and then they get to this point where they kind of then start to tremor.
Yeah, and
it's really interesting because it only works with that tiring because I can't do it now. I can't initiate it now while I'm here. And you go for about 5 minutes. We did 3 sessions of 5 minutes and it's really, really interesting because I was like, am I making this happen? Am I making my legs move? But you're not. And the way to stop it is then to put your legs down flat. And it's kind of then, you know, purportedly, I'll obviously be able to report back when I've been going a few times and practiced a bit, but purportedly releasing the tension and trauma that is then trapped in the body. And there's a point where the guy held down my knees and to stop my legs tremoring to then move it further up your body. And then my hips kind of jutted to the side. It's super interesting, honestly. Yeah, really cool.
I do definitely believe that trauma is stored in every part of our body.
Totally.
It could be anywhere, like muscles, bones, whatever. I think our emotions get trapped. I mean, we're all one. We forget, our emotions and physical body aren't separate, you know.
But isn't it mad how we're only just starting to, discover this more in the mainstream. Do you know what I mean? It's just everything's being uncovered, and this is one of the brilliant things about the internet in a way, if you think about it. Yeah.
It's made
but
it
honestly
open.
Super interesting. So
that's really cool. That's exciting. I will, on your recommendation, give it a go. I have a friend who has studied it. She is actually currently in Germany on a course for it. Yeah. So she's a physiotherapist. She started to explore kind of alternate therapies to go with that physio. Yeah, and this is maybe a second or third time she's gone to Germany to study with this lady who's apparently really well known for.
Amazing.
And also she does another technique where she just presses on like kind of pressure points in your body, and that's nothing else. So literally just press and then just press and that's it. There's nothing else. And then you're like, what just happened? Like I feel completely relieved. Do you know what I mean? It's just and she experimented is what I'm saying. She used me once for her course and it was amazing. So I do think that there's a lot more to,
that's brilliant. Just the movement is so important, Absolutely. It really is. Oh my gosh.
Interesting. I'm loving Michael 2.0 for sure.
You William Tell.
You William Tell. And on another note, before we finish up, please can I give a shout out to the Veganic Summit coming up?
So you had to do a birthday. You should have shouted out for my birthday.
We just did that.
Tell us about your veganic things.
Veganic Summit is on in November, which is on the 8th to the 10th, I think, of November. I should know, shouldn't I? And it's free to get a ticket. So over the 2 days, there's just talks and presentations and loads of information. There's a website with a ton of stuff on it, all about basically gardening. At the end of the day, it's about growing food and flowers, but with loads of tips of how to do that veganically. Veganic is organic plus no animal product. And that's how I garden. Well, that's how my allotment is. So I'm a speaker at it. There's loads of other speakers. And it's via Learn Veganic. So if you're interested, if you go to Instagram, Learn Veganic has all of the information there. So that's really, at the end of the day, it's a free, opportunity to just learn a ton of stuff about growing food.
That's cool.
Whether you decide to do veganic or not, it's just some top people in the industry talking about growing. So it's a free 2-day event, and you'll get a little tour of my allotment as well.
Oh, cool. Is it the first time they've done it or not?
Pardon?
It's the first one, or there's been for a few years?
There's been a veganic summit before, but it's grown and it's really big now. So apparently it's set to be the biggest summit in the vegan movement so far. That's pretty cool.
Ooh.
So learn Veganic and look up the Veganic Summit. And of course I recorded my allotment quite late before I came back to England, and it was raining the whole time. So it's a very rainy allotment, but there you go. But it will be really good.
Oh, but tell me also, because you still got a space on your retreat. I can't make it because I've been booked to do the Avalon cruise again, but you've got some space, right?
Yeah, so the wellbeing retreat coming up in April 2025 is almost already completely booked. So we've got somebody can't come now, so we've got 2 heated accommodation spaces, and then we've got a couple of unheated accommodations, but that's irrelevant because you'll be warm anyway. And this is the 3rd year, and it's already nearly booked up by the end of the year before, which is really amazing. So if you're up for some forest bathing and nature therapy, arts, yoga, meditation, nice food, just being immersed in nature for a weekend, then that's peopleplantswellbeing.com.
Oh, shaman.
Yeah, you'll see some Instagram faces there. Got some very cool, nice people coming.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could come. Sorry. I really dislike April.
Because you dislike April?
April is always such a busy diary month, and there's so many things that clash because I guess, it's then the spring and people start then doing things here and there, and it's like, honestly, I could have 2 Aprils and still not fit everything in, It's crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, so yeah, I really would need a bit more April, Ellen.
Well, I mean, I'm clearly boring you now since you're laying there yawning.
No, I'm so sorry. Honestly, don't take it to heart. I know you're a sensitive soul. Honestly, you old prune juice.
I don't take anything to heart that you say, Michael.
Do you work at a desk?
No.
Oh. Do you work on a sofa or a table? Do you move around?
Oh yeah, I move around. So I don't have a routine, but I would say there's a slight routine. I often start literally sitting at the kitchen worktop because the light is really nice in the morning.
With the celery juice, yeah.
With my celery juice, and then I move to that table in the middle at some point, and then I end up on the sofa down the end. By the end of the day.
So cute.
That's generally what I do.
But I find sometimes I'm trying to go and work somewhere different sometimes. Otherwise, you're always then working in the space that you're living in sometimes. Yeah.
I go and work at the coffee shop. There's a couple of down the road which are really nice. So I go and sit outside there sometimes. So yeah, I can't sit in one place at all.
Yeah. Do you walk to the coffee shop?
Yeah, walk or drive either.
I'm just trying to picture your life. It's a very seminal moment for me.
Picture my life.
Yeah.
I love it how people just assume that in America no one walks anywhere. It's just really.
You told me that.
It depends where you live. Like if you're close to the city, or and then you could walk anywhere, just the same as anyone. But there's a lot of rural areas, so if you are out of the city and there's not much going on, you have to get in a car because there's no way of getting anywhere. So,
and also at a drive-through, you're silly if you're not in a car.
You know what? I honestly don't think I've lived here for 5 years now that I've ever once been through a drive-through takeaway.
Really?
Yeah.
Drive through something else then? Drive through bank?
No, but funnily enough, I did actually drive through the bank the other day, but it was only because I went the wrong way around the car park, not because I needed to take any money.
Oh, because you were walking in manual. You wanted to walk in manually instead.
No, because I thought I started to drive on the left side of the road instead of the other side.
Oh, melon balls. You're so cute. Beneath this exterior, you are carnage. Oh, you're cute.
Anyway.
Can you tell me before I go why my monster is dying?
Well, not enough nutrients, too much nutrients, not enough water, too much water.
Exactly, and this is why houseplants are so bloody difficult.
Not enough light.
There's a list of 10 different things there.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly. Oh, it's so good in there. Look at it.
Yeah, it's right at the top, isn't it? Which is interesting. How is it getting any light or not?
Oh, it's window.
Yeah, but it's right in that dark corner.
Yeah, but come on, there's enough light in juxta. Do you know what I mean? What more does it want? It's not in a fucking cupboard. Do you know what I mean? Stop whining, will you, Monstera?
Do you feed it?
You what?
Do you feed it?
Yeah, I have done. I fed it like some seaweedy stuff.
You fed it some seaweedy stuff, but did you do that regular over summer?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely in the summer, I was really kind of like, it was well watered and well fed and everything. So that's where I'm like, oh, did I overfeed it? But yeah.
I think it might be something to do with feed.
Yeah. But wasn't there a thing recently where everyone's monsters were doing a certain thing? Do you remember? What was that? Something in the summer.
What monsteras are having their say? They're all like had enough of.
No, there was a moment where I can't remember what it was or what it was then down to, but there was some little movement or something. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Sorry, it's one of those things where I'm talking about half a job. But I expect you to know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't. Sorry.
Oh, I look really red-faced before my birthday.
Oh, but we're referring to your birthday even if you don't celebrate your birthday. I see.
Oh, Ellen, honestly. We should sign off soon on this recording that we're doing the day before my birthday.
We should, because I need to talk to you about some dates and you need to go. So we need
to prepare for my birthday, I'm sure.
And I definitely wouldn't want to keep you too long to ruin your birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. That's colour eyes, haven't I? Look at those.
My goodness me. Okay, Michael, you have beautiful eyes.
Isn't it weird? Like on a Zoom, you just look at yourself so much, don't you?
I prefer not to, really.
No, but you just end up doing it. Do you know what I mean? Well, did you look at your hair before today or not?
Well, I put my hair up in the mirror, before I came onto Zoom.
Sorry, Ellen, I've got the devil in me today.
You really do. I think it must be because it's your birthday tomorrow.
All right, I'll let you sign off, Prune Juice. I've got 8 minutes till the gym.
All right, then. I'll speak to you later. Happy birthday for tomorrow.
It's so nice to see you. Good luck with the rash. Hey guys, the sponsor for Series 16 of the plant-based podcast is Grow This Not That, which is the Substack by myself, Michael Perry, also known as Mr. Plant Geek. This is the place where you can get all the hot happenings in the hort world directly to your inbox. Every Friday, there's a hort report which brings together the influencer, industry and home gardener worlds, and every Wednesday, I'll recommend 5 plants that you can grow, and subscribers get an extra free as well. All you need to do to find out more about my wonderful Substack called Grow This Not That is go to mrplantgeek.substack.com. Hope to see you there. The music for the plant-based podcast is part of the song Grow by Mikey James, and our editor is Gareth Patch of Semi Echo.